Hello everyone, this is your CTEC 134 instructor for database administration. In this video, I am going to talk about the concept of referential integrity. And I think what we'll do is we'll start with a definition of referential integrity. In Canvas course documents, the document entitled RDBMS definitions has a definition of referential integrity. We've already looked at several of these definitions in prior videos. If you scroll down a little bit, there's a definition for referential integrity. It says that the rule that if a table contains a foreign key, the value of that foreign key for any given row must match a value of a primary key in another table. We've looked at the first two tables in the TAL database in quite a bit of detail, the rep table and the customer table. And we learned that the rep table has a primary key, but it has no foreign key. And the customer table has a primary key, but it also has a foreign key column that references the primary key column in the rep table. So let's look at that. In the database that I gave you, the TAL distributors database script that I gave you in week 1, we built the TAL distributors database. And in fact, I'll open it up and show you what it looks like. I'm going to do File Open, and I'm going to navigate on my flash drive where I actually have that script. It's called Create TAL Distributors RIC. I'll open it up. And we see that we have commands to create a database and to use the database. And then we have commands to create tables with the appropriate data types. So we have 5 tables we created, and then we inserted test data into 5 tables. And then I actually enforced the referential integrity rule towards the end of that script, and it's right here. And we'll look at that in a bit more detail in a second. But first, we'll show you what referential integrity does. I'm going to expand the tables in my TAL distributors RIC, and I'm going to right-click on the rep table and say Edit Top 200 Rows. And I'm going to do likewise with the customer table. Right-click on it, Edit Top 200 Rows. So that I can see these two things together at the same time, I'm going to grab the customer table tab and float it down here a little bit so I can see these two tables at the same time. Referential integrity says that if I have a foreign key value in a table that matches a primary key value in another table, the values must match. So it says that in this case here, the customer table, the primary keys are customer num, and they're all unique. And in the rep table, the primary key is rep num, and they're all unique. Back to the customer table, we have a rep num column that matches the rep num column in the rep table, and these values here must match these values here. That's what the definition said. If you have a foreign key value and you have a referential integrity enforced, the values in the foreign key must match an existing value in the matching table. So here's an example. Rep num 15 is right here, 15, and here's 30. That relates to that one. And we have several 15s and several 30s and several 45s. So we have a one-to-many relationship between the rep table and the customer table. If I change this rep num from 15 to say 16, which doesn't exist here, As soon as I click outside this row, SQL Server will try to write this value 16 into the table. And when I do, I will get an error. And basically what this error says is that I tried to write a value over here in the foreign key that didn't already exist a primary key in the related table. That's what this error message says. So I can hit the escape key and put it back. Likewise, on any of these, if I tried to make a 38, 31, for example, that doesn't exist, I'll get the same error message. Okay? I could, of course, resolve this. If I really wanted a 16 here, I could resolve it by adding another record up here in the rep table with a value of 16 for the rep num. And then I would be able to change this to a 16. But I'm not going to do that. What we're going to do is examine the actual statement that enforces referential integrity. And that's at the bottom of the SQL script. We see this very first command right here that deals with the rep table and the customer table. Hold on a second. I got to let my dog out. Go, Cooper. Cooper, go. Okay. I'll let my dog out. The statement here deals with the customer table and the rep table. And here's how it works. The command is alter table, and I want to alter the customer table. And I'm going to add a constraint. A constraint is a rule. A rule saying that, for example, maybe the values you entered have to be between 1 and 3. Or the value that you entered has to match another value in another table. And that's what we're doing here. So we're saying we're going to add a constraint. And the next thing here is a name, my own name for it. You can leave this blank. I believe you can leave this blank. And what'll happen is SQL Server will generate a long series of numbers and letters to represent what the name of this particular constraint is. But that is not at all intuitive. And so I said, I'm going to make my own name, and I'm going to call it FK_repnum. And I certainly hope you would do likewise with your foreign key constraints. So I said foreign key underscore repnum. That's a name that I made up. And then the rest of the command is foreign key. And then in parentheses, you name the key in the customer table that you're trying to add the constraint to. Next line down says that this repnum in the customer table references the repnum field in the rep table. And for now, don't pay any attention to this on update cascade. I'll explain that later. You could actually leave that part of it out if you want to. So I went on, after I did that, I went on and added the constraint for the orders table, because we have an orders table with customer numbers in it, and the customer numbers in the orders table should match existing customers in the customer table. And then I finished with the order line table and the order line table, and then you can examine these later at your leisure. So what I also did for this video is I created another version of this TAL distributed script where I'm not enforcing referential integrity. Basically what I did was I just highlighted all of these commands and commented them out like that. And then I changed the database name to TAL distributors practice. And so I have another version of this database. So I'm going to close this down. I'm not going to save it. And I'm going to open up the practice version that I created that is not enforcing referential integrity. And that's right here. TAL distributors practice, expand tables. And then I'm going to right click on the rep table, edit top 200 rows, and right click on the customer table, edit top 200 rows, drag this down so I see both tables at the same time. Now remember in the other script, the TAL distributors _ RIC script, we were enforcing referential integrity, and in this one I'm not. So I should be able to make that a 16, and I can, even though it's invalid up here. I should be able to delete that, and I can, even though it's invalid up here. I should be able to make this a 99 if I want to, even though that's invalid. And so the problem with this, of course, is that I have 3 customer records that I can't relate back to a sales rep record. So that's why we want to enforce referential integrity. What a lot of beginners will do is they'll create several tables, and they'll start loading that data, and they'll put hundreds, if not thousands of records into their tables. And then they'll find out that they have a whole bunch of anomalies, or another name for, in this case, is a foreign, an orphaned records. In other words, this record here is orphaned because it can't relate to a record up here. After you get so many anomalies in your data, then you lose confidence in it, and you say, well, what do I have to do to fix it? And so when I have people come to me with this issue, and I say, well, the way you fix it is enforce referential integrity. So they say, oh, okay, I'm going to enforce referential integrity on this. And they come down to their script file. In fact, I'll open it. So this is the one for practice. You notice down here, I commented out these commands to enforce referential integrity. Before I try to execute them, I'm going to close this table. Let me find the other one here too. If I can. Okay, I paused the video briefly so that I could find the 2 tables I had open and get them closed. So I have the other script, the TAL distributors practice script that I created, and I created the same database as before, but I had commented out these alter statements to enforce referential integrity. I am going to execute this top one here by uncommenting it. And so in other words, I'm trying to enforce referential integrity between the rep table and the customer table. And so I'm going to highlight just that and execute it. And I'm going to get an error. And it says here, if you read the error, it says that that I have values in the customer table that don't match values in the rep table, and so SQL Server can't enforce referential integrity. You have to fix the mistakes before you can do that. Oh, okay, I have to fix those mistakes. So, boy, I sure hope I remember what they are. right-click on tables, right-click on customer, edit top 200 rows. I remember this one was supposed to be a 15. This one was supposed to be a 30. And I don't remember what that one was supposed to be. I think maybe a 45. But they're all valid values now. So close that table again and select this alter statement and execute it, and it completed successfully. So now I have enforced referential integrity between the customer table and the rep table. I haven't made any mistakes, I don't think, in the relationship between the orders table and the customer table. So I should probably be able to uncomment this and execute that, and it works fine. Likewise with these, I should be able to uncomment this and execute that because I don't have any mistakes in my data. That should all work here now. Uncomment this and execute. So in my practice database, I didn't enforce referential integrity and found out that that SQL Server would allow me to put any values in for the foreign value. But now I am enforcing referential integrity, and now I'm good to go. So I think that's all we need to do for now, and I thank you for watching.